What's up? I'm Esoteric Essa. Thanks for returning to the channel, and in today's video I will be sharing insights on what exactly the Great Conjunction is that is happening before we close out 2020, insights into what that entails and what exactly it means for you. So thanks for being here. Thank you so much first off for supporting the channel and supporting astrology. If you haven't yet, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'm close to my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and thank you to all of you who have subscribed. I appreciate you. All right, so listen up. This is a big deal. You're probably hearing a lot of talk in the astral world about the Great Conjunction, Jupiter and Saturn. They're teaming up together. And you're like, what does this mean? What's all the hype about? Well, the reason why Jupiter and Saturn are getting a lot of hype, they are the hype beast kid of 2020, because ultimately, this can lead to becoming a very transformational and positive transit as they link up and they meet together this year. So when we say conjunction, that basically just means two planets meeting up. And we have Jupiter and Saturn, which are really the big hitters when it comes to planets in astrology. So one of the main reasons why this is a big deal is because this happens when they meet up, these two planets. It happens about every 20 years. But the hoopla is, this is closing out a 200-year cycle. Meaning, we have been in Earth energy, in astrology, the Earth element, for that long. And so now we're transitioning where Jupiter and Saturn are meeting up for the very first time in 200 years in an air element of Aquarius, which is very fitting because we talk about the age of the Aquarius a lot and how we are entering it. We've been entering it and we're officially stepping foot into it. What is the age of the Aquarius? Really quickly, that is an astrological year. So in astrology, not astronomy, but in astrology, we have astrological years dependent on the zodiac signs. So we've closed out age of Pisces, which is the age of conformity, in my humble opinion. And now we're transitioning into the age of the Aquarius. I just want to offer this really quickly. You know, there's a lot of videos out there on astrology and etc. And so any video you watch on, whether it's the Great Conjunction or just astrology in general, every astrologer is going to channel or share insights on astrology just based on their own interpretation. So you really have to just find what vibes with you, okay? So I just feel like that is a really important seed to plant, okay? All right, let's keep it moving. So let's think about it this way. There is so much going on, and the big thing that I would love to get across in this video that I don't think we're spending enough time talking about is that this conjunction, the Great Conjunction, is not going to be our saving grace. Changes are not going to happen overnight. This is literally going to be just a big step into shifting the foundation of the collective consciousness. But we have a major alpha fixed star that is conjunct, again, conjunctious, aka sitting nearby talking and hanging out, a major fixed star, Altair, in Aquarius, but it's specifically in the constellation of Aquila, which is known as the eagle energy, eagle animal totem. And it's an alpha star, so that's star about leadership. It's a big deal. It's not necessarily a binary star, but it's still an important energy to be working with. It's mainly a positive energy. So we have Jupiter, who is expansion and spirituality and prosperity and abundance. And then we have Capricorn, who is patriarchy, traditionalism. You know, he is masculinity, toxic masculinity. He is law and order. So we have, and he's restrictive, he's disciplined. And Jupiter is all about expansion. Well, Saturn is one of the traditional rulers of Aquarius. So he's cool with Aquarian energy. He's actually going to be chilling now that he makes this shift over. And he's going to be hanging out with Jupiter in there for like the next year or so. And they're going to, you know, work together pretty pleasantly to help bring in new shifts with specifically, we've already been seeing this playing out in government, right? In programming and conformity. In Aquarius, which Aquarius is all about tech, digital, space, science, spirituality, in its highest vibration. In its lowest vibration, Aquarius can be a little bit egotistical and super ethical, where wanting to do the right thing just ends up forcing you into just conforming again and not operating in its highest form of eccentricity and being different and creating radicalism and rebellion. So knowing all that information, what I would say, dependent on this transit, how this is going to influence us as a collective. And mind you, this is probably going to be a super Western-centric video because I am American and a large portion of my audience is American, so I do speak on popular topics as it relates to what's going on here in America. But if you're watching abroad, you know, some of this is definitely applicable to you. So I just want to kind of put that forewarning out there if it comes up super Western focused. You know, I'm not, this is why. All right, cool, enough said. So there will be a rise in bringing back science, bringing back space exploration, tons of space exploration, tons of, because we still have Uranus retrograding in Taurus, so that's shifting money. So fintech is going to see a rise. So if you're doing any stocks, any investing in fintech, this is a great time to get familiar with that. Medicine, we're going to see medicine shift. We'll likely see maybe the shot for coronavirus be rolled out in 2021 officially. Whoever ends up officially taking office, President-elect Biden, will likely bring a really big focus on science and medicine into his administration. So we'll see a lot of that in terms of like health is going to be a really big deal, tech is going to be a really big deal, medicine, obviously anything digital, technology, so artificial intelligence, right? So if you're not making the shift into technology as a business owner, or if you're, you know, going to school and you're looking for what's a promising job, you're going to want to look at stuff in tech, IT, anything digital, online, obviously. Coding is going to really blast off. We'll probably see new inventions in terms of technology. Obviously, this is going to be a really big transit for technology and space exploration as well. So a lot of investing going back into, we'll probably see SpaceX still continuously making a big impact in, you know, how we do our space exploration here in the United States. Another really big thing to take focus is that I brought up Altair, which is in the constellation of Aquila, which is the eagle. And I can't help but think how fitting, you know, when we think of the animal totem for the United States emblem, we have the eagle, right? The American eagle. So it seems to me that there's going to be, again, more significant shifts for the United States. Obviously, America is going through her Chiron return. So there's still going to be a lot more upheaval, a lot more breaking down of old paradigms because, you know, we're shifting out of Capricorn energy, and we saw a lot of that in 2020 where there was uprising. I mean, damn near almost, you know, just... I don't want to get too political here because I don't want people to start getting hyper-focused on the politics, but although we are going to see that science and spirituality will be going hand in hand, and they'll no longer be viewed as separate compartments, and we'll start understanding how to integrate science with spirituality and spirituality with science as well. But going back to the ego animal totem, I mean, Altair, the Alpha Star, is about courage, about being bold. It's about success and leadership. It's about, you know, taking risks, okay? So, and then we have Jupiter and Saturn, who are both entering in Aquarius at 0 degrees. When a planet is sitting at 0 degrees, that means the planet is going to be operating in its most truest, authentic form. It will be keeping its integrity, meaning it's going to operate in all of its Jupiter energy and all of its Saturn energy. It's not going to really have a lot of internal conflicts with, you know, being, you know, out of bounds. When a planet is 0 to 1 degrees, which in this case they're at 0, and Altair is at 1 degrees in Aquarius. So together these three energies makes this great conjunction a very favorable aspect for us in terms of bringing in positivity. Now, are we gonna like all of a sudden come December 21st, which is, I should have said that in the beginning if I didn't, December 21st, this is when it's officially happening. when Jupiter comes in and meets Saturn there. Now, are we going to just see the light and all our worries are going to go away and the world's going to go back to how it used to be and maybe even better? No. This is a slow roll process because that's how Saturn operates, right? And he's going to be chilling in Aquarius for quite some time. So Saturn moves slow. So this isn't going to happen overnight, but we will be seeing the beginning of dipping our toes into the age of the Aquarius and what that means for humanity, meaning expansion in spirituality, breaking away from, you know, old Abrahamic Christianic type of programming or indoctrination sort of views. So hopefully, you know, we start merging more with expanding our spiritual approaches and being open, because that's what Aquarius is about, right? Aquarius is about the ethereal and bringing in the fifth dimension, the 5D, into the 3D, which Saturn's all about the 3D, you know, this earthly paradigm. So a lot of shifts in terms of us as a collective being bold and wanting to take leadership. And will there be more uprisings? Yes, absolutely. Will they be negative? Who knows? Will they be positive? Who knows? Remember, energy is transient. So when we talk about astrology, we have to talk about the polarities of the two, the good and the bad, right? We can't just focus on the light because we absolutely need the dark. The darkness is substantial for us to reach the light. So this is definitely going to be an energy of being visionaries. Everyone, all of you, you're all going to find a way to be a visionary in your own right, in your own line of work, in your own profession, in your own field respectively. And that is what Aquarius is about, right? It's about being a visionary, and that's what Jupiter is about. It's about, you know, seeing things from an expansive place, right? That's what the eagle, Altair, is about, seeing things from a higher perspective, right? How are we able to take I out of focus to see collective, right? The big picture, the grand plan. I want to bring up really quickly the numerology. So 12/21, right? December 21st. So if you think about it, we have December, which is 12, so the 1 and the 2, which is the self, the 1, right? The I, the me, the 1. The 2 is about partnerships, union, collaboration. So a lot of the old foundation of this, you know, Capricorn energy we've been breaking down through majority of 2020, right? With all these heavy Capricorn stelliums, we've been taking things less from the perspective of how can I collaborate in order to gain for me, for purposes of self. And now with these two planets of Jupiter and Saturn transitioning into Aquarius, which is about humanity, hopes, wishes, dreams, the future, the collective, being of service. And then we have it in 21, which the numbers have swapped. So we have the 2, which is partnership, unions, collaborations, and the 1. So now it's about how can we collaborate. I am secondary. I'm still a priority, but the collaboration is the priority, because the collaboration ultimately in turn trickles down to my well-being, to my benefit. So it's less of an agenda propagated by selfish induced, hopefully selfishly induced you know, goals. And it's more about how can I be a contribution to the duo, right? To that external party, to that collaboration, to that work, to that project, to humanity, to this project, you know, to this effort, to whatever, etc. All right, I also want to bring up something that I think is going to be really significant is Barack Obama. He is having his Jupiter return. And he will be having it in Aquarius, which is going to be really interesting. When we have Jupiter returns, essentially a Jupiter return, when Jupiter comes back into your natal chart, the point in which you were born, back into that sign. Granted, we go through, hopefully, if we're lucky, we go through 3 Jupiter returns in our life. So he's going to be going through what we call an emerald year. Emerald, like the stone. Because when we think of emerald, it's rich, it's prosperity, it's about money, abundance. So depending on the karma that he's been working through and co-creating this timeline, right? Because we're always creating karma, always creating karma. So depending on the karma that he's been creating, you know, behind closed doors, behind the scenes, now that he's going to be having his Jupiter return, this is going to be a significant time where either he will be blessed, most likely he'll be blessed. Now his Jupiter is happening in the 12th house, which is really interesting because the 12th house is about mysteries, behind the scenes, karma, afterlife, death, And I also feel this is going to be a significant time for him to kind of be in the spotlight, chill back, work on personal goals, personal projects, and see his reaping his rewards of all the hard efforts he put in. Another thing to take note is there might be some, because this is the transit about rooting for the underdog and bringing justice, especially with the patriarchy because of Saturn coming in. So, we do have 666 to date, known, hopefully, 666 children in the United States who have been detained by ICE, who have been separated by their families. So it seems like this transit can hopefully help bring that, to justice and help bring action and spotlight to the issues around immigration, but particularly the separation of children with detention centers in the United States, and hopefully helping these children gain some sort of justice and promise to be reunited with their families. So this looks like this can be a great transit for that as well. We're definitely going to feel encouraged and determined to take risks and to speak up for what we feel should be justifiable. One thing in alignment with that is this is a really great transit also for those of us who are Antares starseeds. If you identify as an Antares cosmic starseed, this is a great transit for you to go ahead and get a lot of downloads. You will probably be looked after and sought out for your profound philosophical approach and ideas. So if you do have a connection to Antares starseeds, I do recommend you go ahead and meditate and connect and sort of integrate any transmissions that you can channel from the Antares cosmic beings, because this is a time where the Antares cosmic consciousness, right, because there's different forms of consciousness, and the Antares starseeds have a higher form of consciousness. So if you are an Antares starseed, channeling them and gaining any sort of transmissions is going to be really potent for the collective at this time, as you'll be looked to and sought after for creative solutions, ideas on how to take charge and take lead. So if you are an Antares starseed, you might find yourself also maybe get a promotion or put in a position of recognition, or to be able to kind of step up into the forefront and be able to present your future forward-thinking ideas that others are now finally going to accept. Because why? Because again, the Great Conjunction is all about a visionary energy. So those of you who are, traditionally have been seen as weird, outcasts, just thinking just beyond the norm, and your ideas are too crazy, your ideas are too big, your ideas are too eccentric, they don't make sense. This is the time now where people are going to come back to you and be like, well, remember Peter, he wasn't that crazy. He actually was onto something. He might low-key be a genius. So I really do encourage you guys to take this time to really do a lot of revisiting of any sort of creative endeavors and ideas that might have seemed too far out there. There's a way to now make this practical and to approach it from a practical way. So this is all about also an energy with, yes, two big things astrologically that align with this is we have winter solstice coming up, and we have the big eclipse coming up in December as well. So energies will be heightened. The energy will be intense. When we have eclipses, people tend to kind of get loony. So energy is going to be really, really high strung. So it's going to be really important, especially with Jupiter, because Jupiter is about floating above, right? Thinking things from a higher perspective. And we're going into Aquarius, and Aquarius is air energy, which is fluid, it's flowing, and we're leaving and we're transitioning, hella Capricorn energy, and it's gonna be kind of a struggle for us to grasp this new energy, especially if you don't have significant air placements. If you have a lot of earth in your chart, this might be a transit for you where it's going to take a while for you to get your footing, but you will find your groove. Just think of it this way, like you're putting on a jetpack, right? And when you get on a jetpack, you're flying above, right? You're going up, woo, right? Like, this is new to me. I have no footing under me, I have no earth under me, right? Because we're elevating into air, Aquarius, and we're leaving the earth, which is Capricorn, old Capricorn energy that we've been in for 200 years. And so now we're like, how do I gain my footing? There's nothing below me. How do I create security? So this is how we're going to be shifting and breaking down old paradigms and rewriting structures and creating new programming. And I know people have, a problem with the word programming or a problem with the words new world order. Well, that's exactly what we're creating. The Earth 3D operates in orders, in orderly fashion. So there, no matter how free you think you are with your speech or with your thinking or your philosophy, we're breaking away from a lot of that conditioned thought, whether it's groupthink or whether through a lot of our philosophy has been, you know, influenced largely by religion, or, you know, I mean, think of the United States. It has been indoctrinated into Christianity. Nearly 99% of our US presidents have been Christian or practiced some sort of Christianity, right? Whether they were a Methodist, a Baptist, or a Christian, or a Catholic. Like, this is Christianity, and the thought form of it has been indoctrinated in us, you know, and colonized since the beginning. And so we're doing a lot of that decolonizing through Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius to hopefully free ourselves from all these imprisoned limiting, right? Because Saturn's about limitations, limiting thoughts and structures that have been holding us back and keeping us in a discipline bound box of restrictions and rules and law and order, right? Because Saturn represents law and order, the patriarchy, right? And that was Trump's big slogan, right? Law and order, law and order, law and order. We all know low-key what law and order means. That's code word for, you know, mind control. So we're doing a lot of shifting of that. Now, with this, as we enter in 2021, as I wrap this up, you know, we're gonna be entering right into 2021 in January, the end of January. Granted, January 28th, I believe, is our first Mercury retrograde in 2021. So Mercury's the mind and thinking. Mercury's gonna be a big key player also in this great conjunction. And Mercury's the mind, tech, medicine, travel. So there's going to be a lot of revisiting how we think about, again, coronavirus and traveling and social distancing. Social distancing is not going to go away next year. It's going to stay here. The coronavirus is not going to go away within a year. It's still going to be here lingering. So we're going to find thinking, we're going to be tasked with thought to how to creatively, right, and positively with Altair's energy, to kind of find a way to master and maneuver around these perceived challenges and setbacks. But one thing to take note is that there might be, because the downside to Aquarian energy, again, can sometimes be like, I'm so radical, I don't want to listen to anything or anybody because I am unique to myself. Because Aquarius does want to be individualistic, but he does want to contribute to the, you know, the hut, to the tribe, to the collective, to the soul fam. But, you know, Aquarius can sometimes be very ego-driven as well. Let's be real, let's be honest. I'm an Aquarius, I can admit to that. So there might be, you know, also bouts of people going back and forth with, well, I'm all for helping people, I'm going to go ahead and just continue quarantining, and people being like, F that, my rights have been taken away and I'm not gonna listen, I don't even want to wear a mask, I'm gonna do whatever F I want to do, you know, I'll gather for social parties, you know, I'm still gonna have regular holidays, whatever, I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong, that's up for you guys to decide. I'm not here to impose any of that. But there will be these two radicals and extremes of people superimposing rules and restrictions on self, and people not wanting to follow rules at all. So what we're going to be tasked with is finding the happy medium to figure out, you know, how to positively and in harmony work with these energies. Overall, it's a very pleasant transit. It means we're really stepping into light working and elevating the consciousness of Earth and the collective, and shifting the grid into the 5th dimension, into the 5D. So will there be more changes, radical, drastic changes? Absolutely. Everything from the way we think and the mind, right? Because we jump right into it in 2021 with the Mercury retrograde. So we're going to go within, we're going to go inward and revisit everything we thought about 2020, how that no longer applies to 2021. We're going to see the potential, see the hope, see the prosperity, see the future, and rewrite and hopefully recondition, you know, what we're trying to break away from and free our mental slavery from. but hopefully that doesn't mean you jump right into another mental construct and enslave yourself into an entirely new programming. And that's one thing that we need to be careful, because Age of the Aquarius is about spirituality, and there are a lot of new age spiritual egos out there that anyone can develop, whether it's people who are practitioners, spiritualists, you know, or even just someone who's your everyday person, and they get into spirituality and all of a sudden they develop a spiritual ego. And so that's one thing that we're going to also be kind of deciphering and filtering through, because Saturn is karma. So if there are people out there who are not operating ethically and spiritually in alignment, Jupiter ethically Saturn, then you know, there will be repercussions. So you want to be mindful also, who are you listening to? Media, news, music, radio, spiritualists, bloggers. You know, everyone's biased. Everyone's biased. I am biased. Everybody is biased, right? So you want to be mindful not to jump in from praising and, you know, and worshiping one thing and then jumping into spirituality and think you're freeing yourself and decolonizing your mind, but then you're just jumping into something and worshiping someone else or their thoughts or their ideas. So an Aquarius is about staying true to you, right? That's what Aquarius wants you to do. Aquarius wants you to expand and think and be philosophical and challenge yourself and think of things that haven't been done before and integrate that. But Aquarius also doesn't want to be a sheep or conform, essentially. Aquarius still wants to be an individual, be eclectic, and be eccentric. Be cosmically you. All right, you guys, thank you so much. You can check me out on Instagram, esoteric_Essa. You can check out my Patreon, patreon.com, esoteric_Essa. I do have a podcast called Better Work Bitch. You can find that streaming across anywhere and everywhere. I've had great guests on there who've joined me for insightful talks. And you can find me on Twitter, JG Alejandres. I was going to spell that out for you guys, but I'm going to drop it right here. And if there's anything else I forgot, just visit my website, www.soluminati.com. Please don't forget to like this video and share it. Let me know your thoughts. I appreciate you. Thank you. May you stay happy, healthy, and may you manifest wisely.